final accounts of a banking company. Now that is a very important concept, that is what all things are included in the final accounts of the bank and how to make those final accounts. Now in our introduction video student, I explained you that while making the final account, that is balance sheet and P&L account, the schedule 3 to the Companies Act 2013 does not apply to a bank, because for the banks, insurance companies, electricity companies, there are different acts even though they are companies under the Companies Act 2013 or under earlier Companies Act 1956. However, if there is a specific formats be given by their respective acts, in that case schedule 3 will not apply to them. So now here we are going to discuss what is the exact format being used by the banks to make their final accounts. So coming to the topic of final accounts, now the final accounts format is actually given under the third schedule, just like schedule 3 to the Companies Act. Herein it is third schedule, but it is referred under section 29 of the Banking Regulation Act 1949. And like under schedule 3 to the Companies Act, there is part 1 and part 2, the format of balance sheet and statement of P&L. Here it is form A and form B. So form A is for the form of the balance sheet, and below this it will be form B, that is for the form of the profit and loss account for the year ended 31st March. Now before I actually start with this particular format, let me explain you the summary of the same. Now under the final accounts, the two things are included. One is your balance sheet, another one is your profit and loss account. Now there are specific schedule numbers being given for each item. It is not note number, just like in case of a normal schedule 3 to the Companies Act. Here there is a schedule number, and that is fixed by the format. Under form A for the balance sheet, under form B for the P&L account. Now total of there are 16 schedules are there, out of which schedule number 1 to 12 pertain to the balance sheet, and then schedule number 13 to 16 pertain to the P&L account. Out of schedule number 1 to 12, first 5 are of liabilities, that is schedule number 1 to 5. Then next 6, that is 6 to 11, are of basically asset side, and for contingent liability there is a schedule number 12. So total 12 schedules are bifurcated, first 5 of liabilities, 6 to 11 of assets, and then 12 for basically contingent liabilities. And then schedule number 13 to 16 is of P&L account, out of which 2 are of income, 13 and 14, and 2 are of expenditure, 15 and 16. The most important thing from the examination point of view is the making of the P&L account, and we are going to discuss in detail in this particular video about the P&L account, student. I will go through the balance sheet format also, but that will be later on, because the important thing is the making of the P&L account, for which we are going to do the maximum questions as well, because the maximum chances of question coming in the examination under this final accounts concept is your making of the P&L account. We will be doing certain questions back to the balance sheet, but that has actually a very less relevance. Okay, so income and expenditure, schedule number 13, 14 basically for income, for expenditure 15, 16, and under that schedule number 13 and 14 are being mentioned interest and other income. I will take you through these schedules, and 15, 16 interest expended and operating expenses for your expenditure. Now this was the summary of your final accounts, first 12 of the balance sheet, remaining 4 of your 13 to 16 are of the P&L account. Now these are the 12 schedules of your basically balance sheet. For capital and liabilities, these are the 5 schedules, that is 1 to 5. Each schedule I will take you through later on, that is capital, reserve, surplus, deposit, borrowings, other liabilities and provision. Then for the asset side there are schedules number from 6 to 11, and then contingent liabilities 12, and for bill for collection with no specific schedule, that is item. And 2 columns are there for value of the current year and then value of the previous year for the comparative purpose. Now I will explain this particular formats in detail, the balance sheet schedules in detail later on. The main purpose of my currently is to take you through this P&L account format. Now under the P&L account, the schedule numbers are from 13 to 16. First 2, 13 and 14 are of the income. The 15 and 16 are of the expenditure. Now this is a specific format being given under the third schedule of as per the form B. Now here there are 4 headings. First one is the income heading. Under the income heading there is first interest earned coming, then is the other income coming. Now schedule number 13 is for interest earned and 14 is for other income, student. Then we get the total. Then there is a expenditure heading. Interest expended is 15 and operating expenses is 16. and for provision contingencies there is no schedule number. Now let us understand what all items actually comes in this particular schedule. Now main income of the bank is obviously, which we have understood earlier also, is your interest and discount income. So that's why the format has been made in such a manner so that the main income is shown separately, and therefore also the main expenditure is the interest on the deposits. So that is why interest expended it there separately. Now these are the schedules, basically these are the items which are shown under this particular schedule. So first one was schedule number 13, interest earned. Even though student will be doing questions later on after this video of the P&L account, in that case you will be mentioning schedule 13 for interest earned, 14 for other income, 15 for interest expended, 16 for operating income, because these are fixed schedule numbers, these are not note numbers. So it will be 13, 14, 15, 16. Under interest earned, what all items are there? Interest, discount on advances oblique bills, this is the main income. On term loans, bills purchase and discount, cash credit or overdraft, these are the interest and discount income. And we know for performing asset, income is recorded on accrual basis, and for non-performing asset it is receipt basis. Also for discount income we also know one thing, that is for discount income, it is the discount received during the year minus your closing rebate on bill discounted plus opening rebate on bill discounted, to from the moving from the concept of the receipt to the accrual. That concept we have done earlier so many questions also. Then there is income on the investment. So whatever the investments has been made by the bank in the form of the let's say debenture, bond, government securities, if they are having any kind of a income in the form of the interest, that will also be shown in the interest earned. And if there is an interest on income on the balances with the RBI and other interbank funds, so what is this income? The banks usually keeps a certain amount of a balance with the banks, with the other banks or with the RBI. On that money which the bank is actually keeping with the RBI or with the other banks, basically they are getting some kind of interest from them. So that income will also be shown under this schedule, that is schedule number 13, interest and or other income. Then the next one is your other income. Now under the other income, first is your commission, exchange and brokerage. Now bank actually provide a lot of services to the customers. On that services bank actually charges a kind of a commission, okay, or commission income, exchange, brokerage income kind of a thing. Then there can be income of the profit on sale of investments, but that will be shown net of the less of loss on the sale of investment. So if there is a loss on sale of investments, we generally prefer that rather than showing it on the expenditure side, we are showing it as a negative item under your other income only. So profit minus loss on the sale of investment. Income on investment will be shown under schedule 13 only, beta. That was the second item. We need not to remember the sequence of this, we need to remember only the schedule numbers. However, the income on investment is under schedule 13. This is the profit on sale of investment. Then the next thing is profit on revaluation of investment minus loss on revaluation. Profit on sale of land, building and other assets minus the loss on land, building, other assets. Profit on exchange transaction minus loss on exchange transactions or miscellaneous income. So these all incomes will be shown under other income, like locker rental income or their DD charges and other kind of things. All these incomes will be shown under your other income schedule, that is your schedule number 14, other income. Now it is being written clearly that under item 2 to 5 the loss figures are to be shown in brackets because they are a negative item. Then the next is interest expended. Next is interest expended, that is the expenditure. So the main expenditure of the bank is giving of the interest on the deposits of the customer. That is the first thing, that is the interest on the deposits. So the customers have actually deposited the money with the bank. There are different kind of deposits, saving accounts, fixed deposit, recurring deposits. On those deposits, the bank actually gives interest to the customers. That is the expenditure of the bank, interest expended. Then interest on Reserve Bank of India or interbank borrowing. So that is the reverse. Bank has actually borrowed the money from the RBI, or bank has actually borrowed the money from other banks. On that borrowings, the bank is supposed to give interest to them. So that is a expense for the bank or other kind of a interest. Then is the operating expenses. Simple to say, all the expenses of the bank other than the interest are the operating expenses. Simple to say, all expenses other than the interest. Rent, electricity, audit fees, depreciation, salaries, repair, maintenance, insurance, lighting expenditure, all those expenditures will be shown under operating expenses only. So like payment to and provision for employees, that is the salaries. Rent, taxes, lighting, printing, stationery, advertisement, publicity, depreciation, director fees, allowances and expenses, auditor fee and expenses, law charges, legal charges, postage, telegram, telephone, repair, maintenance, insurance, other expenses. all the expenditures other than simply interest are to be shown under operating expense only. So the four schedules which we need to remember under the P&L account is schedule number 13 interest earned, schedule number 14 other income, schedule number 15 interest expended, and schedule number 16 your operating expenses. And then there is another item is provision and contingencies, for which there is no specific schedule you will see. That is two types of provision which we generally see here is provision in respect of the advances. We did a topic at the beginning of the chapter where we classify the advances to standard, substandard, doubtful loss. For that we create a provision, so that is a provision in respect of advances. Or there can be a provision for the taxation. So these two types of provision you will generally see in the questions, that is provision and contingency, and the question will give you adequate information to find out the same. Okay, so we get the total of the same. Now to explain the further part, let me just take some random values so that you are able to understand. Let us say the interest earned is 1500. Now these figures, first is the current year figures, then is the previous year figures. Okay, so that is always for the comparative purpose. If the question does not give you the previous year figures, obviously you cannot make that particular column. If the question will give you the previous year figures only then you can make this particular column. So 1500, let's say the other income is 700. So the total of the income will be 2200. Under the expenditure, let's say interest expended is 800. Let's say this is 300. Let's say this is 100. So the total is 1200. I am just taking some random figures to explain you the further part. So total of income is 2200, total of expenditure is 1200. Now the next thing is profit oblique loss. First is net profit loss for the year. This is nothing but this total income minus total expenditure. So if it is A, it is B, this is A minus B. This is A minus B. So how much it will be? It will be 2200 minus 1200, that will be 1000. And then profit loss brought forward. That actually means whatever is the profit after all the appropriations of the last year, that will be shown here. That is the brought forward one. So let's say this amount is 400. This amount is 400. So your total will be 1400. The profit for the current year is 1000. That is 2200 minus 1200. And brought forward is 400. So the total profit which is now available for appropriations, out of which we are going to appropriate the profits, will be your 1400. Now first of all, what we are going to do, the total profit available for appropriation is 1400. This will be shown here. This is 1400. We are going to appropriate 1400 profit. The first thing is the most important thing, that is your transfer to statutory reserve. Now there is a legal requirement under the Banking Regulation Act that every bank is actually required to transfer at least 20% of their profits to statutory reserve. What I am saying, that the bank has to compulsorily transfer a minimum of 20% of the profits to statutory reserve, student. So in this case, the total profit of the bank for the current year, because 400 is of the last year, it is obviously after all the appropriations of the last year. So what we are going to do, whenever we are going to transfer to the statutory reserve, it will always be of the current year profit. So it will be of the current year profit, and it will be minimum of 20%. But I am saying minimum of 20%, student. Minimum of 20%. So that's a statutory requirement. Minimum 20%. So if the question is silent, use 20%. However, if the question gives you 25%, 30%, then obviously we will be transferring 25 or 30%, because the minimum is 20%. Obviously we can also transfer more than 20% as well by giving a note, because by giving a note that the minimum is 20%, we are transferring 25% or 30%. Minimum has to be 20%. So if the question, what I will suggest you, if the question is silent, transfer minimum of 20%. If the question is giving you any figure other than 20%, then transfer that particular amount. Okay, but just mention that the minimum is 20%. Now this is the minimum amount which is transferred, and that will always be of the current year profit. The reason being because 400 is of the last year, that was brought forward. So that is obviously after all the appropriations. So we have to transfer of the current year, so that will come out to 200. Then transfer to other reserves or declare dividend. Other reserves, obviously the question will specify. We have to remember of this statutory reserve always. We have to remember of this statutory reserve because that's a legal requirement. That's a legal requirement. For other reserves, the question will specify 5%, 3%, the question will give you, and that will always be of again 1000. There can be a declared dividend. The declared dividend student is of the paid up capital. And again, if the question will give you, only then you will do. So declare paid up capital into dividend rate. So these two things will obviously be shown only if the question specifies transfer to other reserves or any declared dividend. And then the balancing figure is balance carried to balance sheet, that will be here 1200. How? 1400 is the total profit available for appropriation, out of which 200 we have transferred to statutory reserve. The remaining 1200 will be balance carried to balance sheet. And now this 1200 will actually become the profit brought forward for the next year. This 400 was actually nothing but this value of the last year after all the appropriations amount. That's why it is coming as brought forward. Now this 1200 become the brought forward for the next year. So in the next year again, the current year profit 20% minimum will be transferred to statutory reserve, other appropriations remaining being carried forward. So this 1200 is till date profit. It is nothing but, if I tell you, this is 80% profit of the current year student, if there is no appropriation apart from statutory reserve, and as it is of the last year profit. So last year was 400, current year remaining after statutory reserve is 800. So 800 plus 400 is 1200. So this is our format of P&L account which we need to remember along with the schedule numbers. So first is your income. Interest earned is your schedule number 13. Interest and discounted advances based income on investment, interest on balance with RBI. Then other income, commission, exchange, brokerage, profit on sale of investment, sale of excess and other those things. If there is a loss, that will be shown as a negative item. We get the total. Second is expenditure. Schedule number आपके पास 15, that is interest expended, interest on the deposits, interest on RBI or interbank borrowings. Schedule number 16, operating expenses, all other expenses other than the interest and provision. Then provision and contingencies, provision in respect of advances and provision in respect of tax. No specific schedule, we do the total. Third category is profit loss. We get the net profit or loss for the year after deducting the total income and total expenditure. Profit loss brought forward. That is the total profit for appropriation. Then the fourth category is the appropriations. Then is the legal requirement of the transfer to statutory reserve. That's a minimum of the 20% profit is to be transferred to statutory reserve. If the question gives you, let's say, rate 25-30%, then you transfer that thing. But if the question is not mentioning you, then it will always be minimum of 20%. That's a legal requirement you have to do. You always have to do minimum of 20%. Then transfer to other reserves or declared dividend. If the question will give you, only then you can mention. Then the balance being carried forward to the balance sheet. So this is our format of P&L account, schedule number 13 to 16. And then there is also a balance sheet format. First 5 is of the capital and liabilities, then 6 to 11 is of the assets, and 12 is of contingent liability. For bill for collection there is no schedule. We are going to discuss the same later on, student. Under this, first is obviously capital, second reserve surplus, and the other schedules we will be discussing later on. But the important thing currently here is your learning of the P&L account, which we have understood it here. Now let us do so many questions basically with respect to the making of the P&L account, because the maximum questions are pertaining to this particular concept, student. So let us start doing questions with respect to the making of the P&L account.